Well, y'all keep letting us come back.
Aw, I'm kind of disappointed. That's the first time you haven't said, and here we go again. It's
And
kind of
here we go again.
No, it's not the same now. It's
Want me to start over?
No.
I can click the button.
No. We're
I
not.
can't. You don't want me to click the button?
Stop it.
I
No.
didn't do the music.
I do the music. I do pretty much everything. Just
Yes.
no. Just no. But the one thing we didn't do last time that we should have, and we're going to do this time.
Thank
I'm
all
Jo-
3 people that listen.
I swear to God. I'm trying to make sure the branding is proper, okay? I'm Josh, you're Kenny. This is Random Ramblings. Thanks for coming by. Now you can hit the button. We're just going to turn this in.
Nope.
You want to hit the
Nope.
button so
Nope.
damn bad.
Straight-
Hit the
nope.
button.
Nope. I'm
hit the
leaving it
button.
alone. I'm not
I'm
touching.
gonna-
I'm not
I'm going
touching
to rush
it.
hour
I'm not
this.
touching it.
Push the damn
Nope,
button.
I'm not touching it.
Yeah.
Bet you your wife has to scream at you about that too.
God, add that to the
Button.
list.
Hit the button. Get the button.
Add
Get the
that-
button.
Don't make me go down another stand-up comedy road with Kevin
If you
James.
go down, you wouldn't have to worry about it. Thank you. I have been here a total of 15 minutes, and I got my first setup. Oh man, it was perfect. I loved it.
Killing me.
Slam dunk.
Killing me.
You walked right into that.
I wasn't on purpose. It was your fault.
Okay, folks, there you go. First 3 minutes, I screwed up, and then I got him. Well, I didn't
I don't
really
like
screw
when-
up. I just introed different.
I don't like when things are out of order, okay?
That's what she
I
said.
struggle with that. Granted, I prefer organized chaos.
Oh, he's on
But
the
it's-
struggle bus then because
it's
there's
my
no
chaos.
there's no organization to my chaos.
But that's the thing. I like organize. I want organization.
And all
the
you
way
Witcher
I want
fans
it.
out there, I ain't finished it yet. That's all right. The one of the 3 people knows who I'm talking to and what I'm talking about.
Yes. I hear you. I actually saw my first commercial for that the other day, and I went, "Hey, that's what Kenny talked
Watch
about."
it. Last time
will.
I told you to watch something, it was good.
Yeah. Do you know how far behind I am on things that I should be watching because everybody says to
Probably
watch?
if you're like me, the stack is like thicker than War and Peace.
Right. Exactly.
It's a good. I think I'm on like a 3rd sheet of paper.
I've quit taking notes.
I mean, sometimes I binge watch stuff and it's like sensory overload. I've taken in all I can take,
Yeah.
and I just can't do it anymore. And I've got to take a break from it.
Yep.
And then, like with that particular show and a couple of others, it's like, when are you going to put the next season out? Will you hurry up with the next season, please? God, hurry up with the next season.
Yeah.
And,
No, I hear you.
It's
I get
whatever.
it. I'm hit and miss. I will hit moments where I'm like glued to TV, phone, tablet, whatever it takes, just so I can get it more, and I will burn through series like that. I did that with The Sopranos. I did not watch The Sopranos in its heyday when it was on because my parents never had HBO, and I didn't know enough buddies, and I was still in school, so curfews were a thing. And so I never got to watch The Sopranos when it was in its heyday.
I'm going to take some shit for this. I haven't watched it yet.
If that is your thing, it's fine. I understand when people say, "Oh, you should totally watch that." If the subject matter sucks,
Look.
for my interest, I didn't.
As much as I love Marvel Comics, DC Comics, and all of that, there are spin-offs from Batman that I haven't seen.
Right.
I've not seen all the Marvel television series. I've missed a few
Oh,
Star
my
Trek
gosh.
things, and I know that'll surprise everybody because I love me some Star Trek, but I don't have that particular streaming service. Haven't bought it yet. Haven't bought the DVDs of it yet. And I just...
No,
But there's so... Now... And
everything has its own take. And
I'll say it. And I love the streaming service. I love the ability that
totally.
I've got it at my fingertips. But I think part of the problem is I've got too much.
We've reached a point.
There's too much to choose from.
First, it was Netflix, and then it was, okay, so I've got cable and Netflix. Okay, we're good. All right, we're good. Yeah, cable, Netflix. What is this? Now we have something else. Whatever the second one was.
Oh, and they've got one for all of the Discovery channels. Do you know how tempting it is to get the Discovery family of networks?
Everything is Shark Week. Shark Week could be every day.
Modern Marvels.
Yes, there's that.
Can't talk.
No, it's okay. It's okay. It's not like we ask you to do that or anything. But I understand.
It's not like I make a living doing that. It's a good thing.
Well, but
I mean, if I got paid by the word, I'd be able to retire.
To your point, though, you said you were going to catch crap for something that you've never seen, and you said that about Sopranos. But I very much believe in the take of, if it doesn't fit my interest in general, I don't care how good it is, I probably am not going to like it. My wife is very much in that same vein. You watch your paranormal shows.
Yes.
I think it's all a bunch of hooey.
shows.
So
you've said.
right. And I've said that before. I'm not going to go down that road again. But I believe it's hooey. Therefore, why would I waste my time watching it? One of my favorite series of all time is... What do you do? What are you doing right now? Are you snapping?
I'm Snapchatting.
While you... Oh my God.
While you were talking, I was Snapchatting, yes.
Squirrel.
Exactly. That's why you...
I know that's why it happened.
Hey, Kenny, I want you to do something with me. What do you want me to do, Josh? What do you need? You need something heavy lifted? You want to play some games? We want to watch some ball. What are we gonna do? I want you to do a podcast with me. Well, why me? Well, I don't know. It's just kind of your whole personality, Kenny. We click. We do well. Well, okay, deal with it. Somebody sent me a Snapchat, and I sent one back.
No, we're good.
While you were talking.
So one of my favorite series is House of Cards. If you haven't seen it on Netflix, I think it's worth the watch.
My queue. I think it's in my list is what they call it. I just keep calling it a queue. But.
We avoid politics. I avoid politics for the most part. However, the wheels on this bus are worth watching go round and round.
Okay, so
my wife, not a fan at all.
Really?
Not at all. Not a fan of politics whatsoever. The show is of no interest to her. I am of the opinion it is one of the better series ever. Now, it got mired in off-camera bullshit. That's neither here nor there. That is a story for a different day. I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. But the series in its own set entity, you put it in a box by itself, sign me up. Watch it on repeat. It is amazing. On the alternative, my wife and friends loved Breaking Bad. Loved it.
That one's in my queue, and everybody tells me I need to watch it. And I haven't done it yet. And well, the question I was going to ask you.
Okay. For the record, I don't like Breaking Bad, so you can throw crap at me for that too.
Do you start one watch 2 or 3 shows and go, not for me? Because I've done that on a couple of things, and it's like when people come to me, and the guy that turned me on to The Witcher, I pretty much trust him if he says something about this TV show's good.
Yeah.
We have similar taste, not the exact same, but similar taste. Yeah, I see you seeing my phone lighting up. I got to Snapchat back, and I'll do it again when I'm done talking. But anyway, we have similar taste. So when he tells me,
the dungeon's too dark, so right? the light from the phone brings in from the heavens.
Exactly. It's like the outside world from where I'm sitting.
We've said in the past, don't be a dick, and that's what you're doing right now.
But this is different.
I hate that phrase because everybody tries to cop out
in here
with
being
it.
a dick, though.
You're not wrong.
I tried. I almost got it again.
No, I knew that was coming. You're
For
good.
future reference, when I say I tried or I got it, he's trying to drink while I'm talking.
Yeah.
But anyway, back to, we can get back to picking on me later. I've done this, and Netflix has, all of them. We pull that one out because that's the one most people
that
are
was the
familiar
first
with,
one.
But
that kind of started it.
They all have like different car shows. Like, Counting Cars is moved over to this, and they have done their own series of these different car shows. So, and I'm a huge old car fan. Anybody on my Facebook page knows that. But my Facebook page looks like a cruise in. Sue me.
I'm not judging you.
Anyway,
you've posted some stuff that I think is really, really cool. All of them are really, really cool. I'll never be able to afford or potentially ever own one, and I don't know what I know enough about a combustion engine to know that gasoline, pistons, motor oil, and then electronics and a battery.
Yeah, put the key in the hole, turn the key, press the gas. That's all he needs. That's all he knows.
I'm a bit further along than that, but I don't get. I have never delved into, nor am I intrigued by all the different. Oh, it's a
Oh, I can't tell you. Look,
A 350
if you don't
454
have,
or-
if you don't have the cue card, the museum card in front of me,
Right.
I can't tell you all that. I can only guess at the year model. I just know what I like.
No,
And I love looking at them, and I love going to car shows and
Sure.
stuff like that. And I love these shows on TV. We'll just put it that
course.
way. I love these shows on TV where they're building these hot rods or they're putting these classics back together. But like in anything that I've been said, hey, Kenny, you should watch this. I watched 2 or 3 episodes, and it's like, don't think so, and I'll never go back to it. But then you get that one to where it's like midnight. You should have been in bed 4 hours ago, and you're like, oh, one more.
So I have been down that road, and I stopped because the moment you tell someone you stop and go, oh, I'm kind of done. You didn't get to the best part yet. So I've given people enough clout, and I'm going to stick with Breaking Bad on this because I never finished it. I watched into the first season. I watched through the whole thing. I started in on the second season, and I cannot get into it. It's a good show. Cranston does a phenomenal job. I just can't.
There are shows
get into
out
it.
there that I've made it to the 3rd season and wondered what the hell happened to the writers.
And I think that happens a
I've
lot more
stopped
than
there. And everybody's like, and that's back when I was watching them as they aired.
Yep.
And everybody's like, oh, if you'll binge watch it, you can get through that season. All right, so I go back and I binge watch the first 2 seasons. I get to the 3rd season. I get 4 episodes into the 3rd season. I'm like, nope, writers still didn't come up, still
Right.
didn't step up. What happened? Did they have a changeover? Did everybody just
Yep.
was there brain lock? What the hell? And it was one show. I was in it for 6 freaking seasons. We got to the 7th season. It's like, the fuck? Did everybody go on strike?
right. No, I'm with
and
you.
I'll drop it and won't go back to it. I mean, I will flat drop it, won't go back to it. Now, there's some shows out there that I absolutely love. Got in the habit of watching them with my daughter. Well, she doesn't come home for months at a time now.
Sure.
So now, and it's I'll have to say it's difficult to want to watch that show without her sitting in the living room.
There is an
Because
experience to it.
Yeah, when you watch something together, even if you're quiet through the whole thing, when you watch something together, and that's like with The Witcher, my buddy that told me to watch it. When I'm done with that season, we're going to talk about it.
Right.
And it might take us weeks because we might talk about it all via text message. It might take us, we might sit down at lunch, talk about it straight through, and we're going to tear that thing apart.
Right.
The storyline, the special effects, everything.
Well, see, but I think a lot of folks have that particular take is you put yourself in a situation. I feel like a lot of things happen at once to make it as good an experience as it was. So, for example, let's and I'm not going to move long, but let's take this same situation where you're binging it, and now because your daughter's not here, it's not as good. It's not as much fun. You don't get the feedback. You don't get the atmosphere. I'm that way with games. There are certain games that I'll play solo. They're 1-player games. That's all I do, and I will grind on the thing until I'm blue in the face. But I've got multiplayer games that I play with my friends, and when I go to play without them, it lacks because it's the situation, it's the interaction. I don't know if it's the way you feed off of one another that makes it. I have watched shows that when I've watched individually, I go, what the hell am I watching? And then I'll watch shows with my wife or with a friend of mine or whatever, and we talk about them, and now I have an investment. Now I'm invested because they're invested, and we can have a conversation. I think there's a lot of atmosphere to that.
It's a topic of conversation. And
Right.
for me, for somebody that does not follow but just one sport, I'll put it out there, I follow one sport. If you invite me over for a football game, I'll go.
It better be Saturday.
I like football. I like baseball. I like a lot of different sports, but I follow one.
Right.
Just not going to put any more of my life into that because I have other things that I want to do.
Sure.
Camp, breathe. Anyway,
Right. No, I get it.
So when you get that connection with somebody else, whether it be
Mm-hmm.
over a game, over team sports, I mean, because I've got friends at work. The whole reason we're friends, NASCAR.
Right.
They rolled in wearing a hat or a shirt, and I had something smart to say. Yes, me. I had something smart to say.
For the record, he's talking sarcastic, not actual intelligence.
Yeah, no kidding.
Just, I feel like there's a footer or like a footnote that should
well,
be
I
added
can
right
tell
there.
you now,
or an
you roll
asterisk.
in wearing a Kyle Busch anything, I'm going to give you hell.
Nobody should ever want to
Kyle,
wear.
if you're listening, thanks for listening. You're an awesome driver, but you're just not on my list.
Remember what we've said in the last couple of episodes? Don't be a dick.
Am I being a dick again?
No,
okay.
no, not at all. We should probably just say don't be a Kyle.
Yeah.
That's what we should say. And we won't go any further down the NASCAR rabbit hole, at least at this moment.
I can't
We'll stick
afford
to
that lawyer, so you say what you want to.
I never said which Kyle.
See? Snapchatting again.
I never said which Kyle. You chose the Kyle. I just said Kyle's a dick.
Well, I was saying something else. You were talking about his dick. What do you know
No,
about his
Kyle
dick?
is a dick.
Oh, see? Got you to say it.
But we're still on a very singular and not direct Kyle. You're the only one who stated a last name. I can infer an opinion on anyone and anything without giving direct context, much like the Karen debate. I feel bad for Karens. We've had that conversation. I didn't put myself in that
See,
liable
this is
position.
where I'm getting chastised because I said something.
No, all I've
Now
done
who's being a dick?
all I've done is protect myself. That's what matters.
I never said anything derogatory. I just said I'd give somebody shit.
Fair point. So, because you said it that way and I didn't call out his name, he's a dick, and we're both in the clear. We're good. We're good.
I bet you if he called and said, "Hey, I want to be on the show," we'd both go, "Yes,
Absolutely.
we would."
There is
I
no
love
doubt
talking
in
to
my
interesting
mind
people.
that there is
By
a
the
line
way,
in the sand right there.
He keeps catching me looking down, and I don't ever want this to go video. I know he promised that if y'all made it go viral, I'll consider it if it truly hits viral status. But he's got on a T-shirt, and it is very obviously a Star Wars T-shirt.
It is.
If you know anything about Star Wars. So if you know anything about Star Wars, he's got on the T-shirt that has the scope, the tactical scope from the X-Wing when Luke is going into the Death Star. And I can't help it. Every time I look him in the face to say something to him, I look down. And I keep waiting to hear the voice going, "Stay on target, stay on target." It's like,
I thought you were going to say you were waiting for the counter to dip down or
No.
watch the two red lines move in closer.
the only thing I can hear, that scene, every time I go into that scene, I can hear the voice in the background, "Stay on target, stay on target."
You know what my favorite part of that whole exchange is? And I've only really grown to appreciate it as an adult now, also being an overweight adult. Our pilots that are in the military, thank you for your service, by the way, they're all the best of the best. They're all super fit. That guy was huge. That guy was huge. Fat guy run. The fat guy's running things. Yes, sir. They didn't care. I didn't have to live through 4Gs.
That's his takeaway.
That's right. Again, that is a hot take I have grown into as a big adult. As a kid, I was like, "Hey, that guy's cool."
I think we'll see back to shows and movies and things.
Yes.
I recognize that. Of
course.
Huge fan. And I've got it associated with something. All right, so from the previous, well, are they prequels since they come out afterwards, but yet are the first three books?
They are.
Anyway,
prequels.
from the first three books, from the pre-Luke books, the only thing I ever think when you see that little robot and all I hear is "Roger, Roger." And see, at work we use radios to communicate from truck to truck. And somebody will call me on the radio and tell me to do something. I really want to come back with "Roger, Roger."
Why not? Why don't you?
Well, I don't know. Professionalism. It's not like there's only 5 people listening to that radio. There's like 250.
So in other words, you're afraid. Has nothing to do with
I just don't want to get
professionalism.
in trouble, dude. I mean,
Okay.
really, it's
All right, well,
work.
then
It's
call it that.
different than getting in
Then
trouble
say-
with you. I get in trouble with you. It's a big deal. It's not a big deal, really. We just play it off.
No,
on
it's not. It's all for
the
it's all for the
thing.
show. Yeah,
I get in trouble at work. It'll be like, "Hey, Kenny, quit grooving around on the radio."
but you weren't. You were acknowledging it. All you did was acknowledge it. I think you should do it.
I'm not real sure. Maybe 10 of those people would get the reference.
Then I'm here for those 10 people, and you need to share this link with them.
I have 3 of them listen.
I think you need to step your marketing game up. Then you need to step your marketing game up.
Okay, well, I've shared it with all of my Facebook friends.
No, I
All
know.
4 of them.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong because I don't count. Because I'm a part of this
I
too.
mean, there's like 4 other people that like
No,
old cars and the stupid jokes that I share. So, and trust me, there's plenty of those.
No, I just
I actually have coworkers. That's how we talk all day.
Right,
We
well-
just send jokes back and forth.
But we all have those things that we immediately associate.
And
with
all
something
this
else.
ties into what you're talking about because there are shows that I'm not going to be interested in based on the title and the description. I hate Westerns. Loved the movie Tombstone. Hate Westerns.
I grew up. My dad watched. He still watches Westerns when they're on. I've got a couple that I'm okay with. I enjoy watching. They're fun to watch, and he's watched them enough, and we watch them enough together, atmosphere, that I'm willing to sit down and watch them again. I've watched them with my wife, and I get the look of, who are you? And so to that end,
that's me in the Andy Griffith Show.
90% of the Westerns are identical. Most of them have the exact same guys. They just go from set to set to set to set to set to set to set, and so they could film them all at once before the horses
a couple of them even moved over to the
I got you to stop.
Yes, I almost said the 21st century, but I can't remember. It actually happens later than that. But there were Bonanza and what was the other one? DeForest Kelley and James Doohan, who both played on Star Trek and made a hell of a career out of Star Trek. They both had starring roles on those two shows.
Sure.
The $6 Million Man started out on a Western. Mm-hmm. And Little House on the Prairie, Touched by an Angel, started out on a Western.
Absolutely.
I think with the $6 Million Man.
I can't think of the movie
the
Little
lady
House on
that
the Prairie.
played the mom in Bewitched. Agnes Moorehead. She did a lot of Westerns back in the day.
Yes, that is correct.
I can do this all day. I love IMDb.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
But see that
for the record, if you are curious, for all of my fellow gun nuts out there, there's an Internet Movie Firearms database. So if you like Will Smith in Bad Boys 2 and you like the pistols that he used, by the way, they're custom Glocks with stainless steel slides. They are not like that stock from the factory. Those are custom. So, but yeah,
nice.
If you're now, the fun part of that is when you get into the sci-fi movies, they break those down too.
Well, now
I know what Kenny's doing 4 o'clock tomorrow morning.
If I had plans with you this weekend, might as well give that up. Because Josh is going to send me a link, and it's not going to be to this podcast. It's going to be to that.
No.
And guess where I'm going to be?
But I just, I don't know. I guess for me, it is situational. I go to a movie theater. I am more than okay to go to a movie by myself. I'm down with it. A lot of folks are like, I don't want to go to movies with other people. Whatever.
I might as well watch a movie by myself because I don't want you to talk.
Well, I
don't invite people over to watch movies, by the way.
Well, sure.
People tend to want to socialize while I'm watching a movie.
Absolutely.
I'll invite people over to watch a movie I've seen 100 times.
That's true. I agree with that in a lot of instances. I'm one of those,
and that was something I had to teach my wife when we were dating. It's like, watch a movie. I don't care what you did today. I'm watching a movie. Actually, he gets the whole thing because I turn my head like I'm talking to somebody beside me. But anyway, Star Trek, when they were coming out brand new, when all of them, when they were out brand new, it'd be like, can you talk during the commercial, please? And only during the commercial. You want to tell me about work? You need to tell me about work when the commercial comes on, because I really want to. And she didn't get it until I explained it to her. If I'm going to invest
the time and effort.
Absolutely. I want to keep up. I don't want it to end with me going, how did we get here?
So
because I and that bothers me. And which now it's like, just rewind it. All right, I don't want to watch the same 6 minutes over and over again. By the way, there's a commercial like that, but I don't want to watch the same 6 minutes over and over again. I want to watch it the first time, and I get a little irritated at full theaters. Because when the theaters get full, a lot of times you have little kids, and they're bouncing and doing and carrying on.
Right.
And I'm not saying you shouldn't take your kids to the movies, and I'm not saying that all kids need to be strapped in a seat and be gagged. I'm just saying that distracts from my movie experience.
Of course.
I understand. Having raised a kid, I understand you can't keep them still. And they really want to be there. They want to hear it in the theater and hear it over that sound system. It's an incredible sound system. They want to see it on the big screen just as much as everybody else. Their attention span's different from mine.
I know you've been here and done that and seen it in all the posts on social media where when someone says you can't hear a picture.
Yes, you can.
Right.
Because I can hear that picture on your shirt. We just talked about that.
Well, but I just had my moment when you talked about the sound system in the movie theater, because all I saw in the moment was THX. Where they test the entire range.
Yes, that's awesome.
But I'm with you. If you are a moviegoer in your position, and I assume you know this because you have your moments of brilliance, matinee movies. Yes. Matinee movies are everything.
That's what we'll do when we go. Thanks to our streaming services, I've gotten out of going to the movies a lot.
Me too.
Now, my wife loves to go to the movies, and if she can go to the movies on her birthday, actually any day of the week, doesn't even have to be on her birthday, but she will actually watch. I've caught her doing it, checking to see when a sci-fi movie will come out. The woman is not that big into sci-fi, but I can promise you if there's a sci-fi movie coming out and she knows it's something I'm interested in, she will make sure that I know. Mm-hmm. Because that's something that'll... And she got shocked the year Bohemian Rhapsody came out. Oh. Because, we were leaving from doing something else. It was still early in the evening. I looked at her and said, you want to go to the movies? And she looked at me, she goes, what's playing? I went, Bohemian Rhapsody. And she just looked at me and she never questioned, yes. Mm-hmm. And so we went, and we had that, by the way, phenomenal movie, folks.
Absolutely.
If you're a fan of Queen, or if you just think you'd like to know a little bit more about the band and the lead singer, Freddie Mercury, get the movie. Watch the movie. It's great. Make sure you have some kind of surround sound, though.
Oh, you got to own it.
Because you're not going to want to hear this kind of music over your TV speakers. But anyway, so we went to the movie, and we got an early enough showing that the theater was almost empty.
Those are the best.
And it was great. We had a great time, and it's a long movie, and, I'm the one that's going to hold it until we're done. I'm going to be about to piss my pants, but I'm not getting up.
No.
But in a great time. And then I won again with Aquaman because, Jason Momoa, and I have two women in the family. I'm like, who wants to go to the movies? And they're all like, what are we going to go see? I'm like, Jason Momoa with his shirt off, and they were on board.
So in typical comic book nerd fashion, it is easy to hate on Aquaman. It is easy to hate on him.
But there are live action, the people that cast that knew what they were doing.
They gave
smart. Nerds everywhere the ability to take someone to a movie that suited them.
Mm-hmm. I think that's the underrated hot take.
You
hit the net. You stole that from me because
yes.
Unintentionally, I was in the same boat. You gave people an opportunity to go on a date that would have never gone on a date.
Yeah, had I looked at my wife and said we're going to go see Aquaman, she would have laughed because she knows enough about the cartoon, the Justice League, to know that Aquaman is he's basically a sidekick. Not anymore.
No.
Thank you, folks, at whoever decided to do this.
Most of the DC stuff has not been that great. They sold that one really well.
But and it's not just, excuse me, got a little excited. I'm not gonna say it's all just him. Their whole take on Aquaman.
Yeah,
his
backstory, every bit of it.
The whole 9 yards, his backstory, what he had to go through, what he had to come up, the whole movie just elevated Aquaman. And it's the same with Wonder Woman. Now, I grew up on Wonder Woman, Linda Carter's Wonder Woman.
Absolutely.
But we now know where she came from, who she is, where she really gets that power from. Back in the 70s and 80s, okay, it's an easy backstory just to say, she's from this mysterious island somewhere. Okay, you're going to take that, especially with a comic book. And if you've read the comics, you've gotten God knows how much information.
Right.
But when they redid and did the Wonder Woman movie, phenomenal job.
No,
I'm on board with the first one being better than the second one. I'm one of those people.
90% of the time,
you don't always hit with number 2.
I think a lot of things.
You hit the toilet with number 2 a lot, but you don't always hit with the second movie.
Well, but I think a lot of that is, if you really think about it, and Hollywood's in it for the money. You see the bank truck pull up and are like, dump truck full of cash.
Yes.
Let's do it again. Let's see how many we can do.
Well, they're pushing the new Matrix so hard. It's pathetic.
It did not do well in its opening weekend.
I didn't expect it would. They actually finalized those movies.
They did. They did write that one
ended
off.
the stories. Yeah, they ended the stories. Going back, even I'm skeptical, and I enjoyed them.
Right.
And I've watched everything Matrix but this new movie.
Well, and did you watch Animatrix too?
Yes, I did.
Yes! God, because I was going to give you shit if you didn't.
No, I watched it.
But I feel like a lot of people are so quick to judge the second. Oh, it's not as good as the first. Why was it not as good as the first? I need you to tell me why to you it's not as good as the first. Because I have a different take, and I want to see where we are on the wavelength.
Okay, so here we go. And this might take a second.
Would you rather me go first?
No, I'm going to go first because you gave me the opportunity.
All right.
I'm like that. But I'm going to take you on a road though, on a trip. When Wonder Woman first come out,
we clamp?
the TV series, yes. The Wonder Woman, the TV series, when it first come on, it was World War II era.
Sure.
And she was coming over to help. And it was all designed to protect their little community, their island. Okay, I'm gonna try to do this without giving too many spoilers. Okay, so if you don't know the whole Wonder Woman thing and it's on your watch list, cut this off. Go watch Wonder Woman, then come back.
No.
Yeah.
Fast forward.
I don't want to fast forward. Gotta talk a little bit.
No, not you.
Oh.
No, them.
Fast
Don't
forward,
send them
then
away. Don't tell them to cut it off. But fast forward if you want to save it.
Well, by the
and
time
come
they
back
watch all the
later.
Wonder Woman stuff and come back, it'll be 8 more episodes. If they fast forward through it and then go watch it all, they're going to forget to come back to this.
Go with your story.
Okay, anyway.
Jeez, my mistake.
Always.
Not arguing. Go ahead.
Okay, maybe
I'm
we
waiting
should
on you to
video.
do-
Maybe
I'm
we
waiting
should
on you to
video
do the
this.
damn story.
But anyway, so she starts out World War II. All right, and then there comes a point in time. I mean, there's a couple of seasons of that in that era, in that time frame, and
Right.
then all of a sudden, bam, we're in the 80s. Okay, now that's the show, and that's all I'm going to talk about with the show. And we went from one to the other, and we
Sure.
kept the same characters. Now, keep in mind, Wonder Woman is immortal,
Correct.
even in the comic strips.
Correct.
All right, so we kept the same characters, though. She's still helping out the same person, the same exact individual. Now, in the TV show, they play him off to be a son or grandson. All right, so the movies. The first movie was set World War II.
Okay.
All right. She didn't come to us to help protect. What happened was the war came to their island. So she took it upon herself to go and make sure nobody came back. And that's all the synopsis I'll give at that point. But the first movie was set there. There was some definitive endings to some characters. So when we did movie number 2, now we're in the 80s, just like the TV show.
Okay.
So the first thing that kind of threw me off was, all right, you're mimicking the TV show. The second thing they did was, instead of having grandson, son, they brought somebody back to life. Okay. You ended the character.
Right.
And I don't think they were expecting to do another movie. I think they were expecting to move forward with Justice League and all of that. And then, the first Wonder Woman was a very big hit.
Bank truck.
And I think what happened was they come back and it's like, boop, holy crap.
Boop. That's the sound of the cash truck.
Yeah,
rolling
and
in.
then it's, all of a sudden it's holy crap. We can bring this into the 80s just like they did on the TV show, and then you realize, no, we can't. So we had to watch the same character die twice.
Did they go out the same way?
No.
Oh.
Second
see,
time was a lot less heroic, but
No. I just feel like it's a missed opportunity. I'd like to see them go out the same way.
but anyway, as far
Really?
as far as the storyline for the second movie, okay, it was in line with comic book storylines. And when you're doing a comic book movie, I look for storylines that are going to be in line with a comic book storyline. And that even includes the Batman. And the Batman franchise is huge.
Oh, yeah.
And that includes that. I want to know. And yes, people, I realize there are some darker Batmans out there, but there are such things as graphic novels.
Yes.
And DC has done a few of those. Mm-hmm. And let's not forget that there's a whole Robin character that's in with the Teen Titans. which there's a live action of that, but it's a TV show, not a movie.
Correct.
I've not watched that yet. I watched Teen Titans with my daughter, though.
Right. Well, I feel like I appreciate your take because I don't necessarily disagree with that. But I meant just more broad brush. Why to you do seconds fail?
But not always. That's not a standard with me. Okay, let's go out. I may not be understanding your question because I don't want to say that they always fail because
they don't. That's not fair.
Aliens was way better than Alien.
Nope. For the majority of instances, the second movie can fall flat.
Yes.
Why?
I think they overplay it.
Okay.
And I'm not talking about the what they put out there like with this Matrix movie. I'm talking about they overdo the script, everything.
Right. I think that's one.
Sometimes when like I just said with Wonder Woman, you ended some stuff.
Right.
And then you realize, oh, wait, we could have done this again. And I think I'm noticing a lot more open-ended storylines at the end of movies.
The cliffhanger has become the common because everybody's now staying to the end for the cut scenes or the end credit scenes and the teaser trailer. And
thank you, Marvel Comics, because
I've stayed to movies that shouldn't even have an end just to see if they have a stupid cut scene. But I'll give you my take and then I'll let you kind of have a... For me, the second movie, most of the time, falls flat because if the first movie is something new and exciting, you have never seen it before, it's lightning in a bottle. It's new. But in the same time, even though the second movie is probably pretty good, and if it ran by itself and you didn't know the first bit, it would probably have that same newness to it. It jumps the shark, whether it's intended to or not, because it's new and exciting. The second one's not as good because I've seen a portion of the shtick to start with. Let's look at you've talked about The Matrix. If you were to rank them in orders of 1, 2, and 3, we'll stick to the first ones. You would probably rate them first one, second one, third one. Well, maybe you'd flip-flop 2 and 3.
That storyline progressed.
Okay.
There were no definitive endings. I think they may not have, but I think they had intended, like with Harry Potter, they intended these mini movies. And I will bring up Alien every time because the first Alien movie, and it's called Alien, no S. The first Alien movie, long, drawn out, not as scary as you'd think. Mm-hmm. It just drug.
Right.
But the second one, but here's the thing. I'm not 100% certain you should watch the second one without watching the first one. The first one's almost like those first 3 chapters of a book. You're getting so much backstory. Right. Mm-hmm. But the second one is you already know what's going on, and bam. But, E.T., everybody's like, why didn't they do a second one? He went home.
Right.
How do you redo that storyline?
Right. But I think, I guess to my point, if you look at a movie and the first one's really, really good, I mean, we can go to Marvel and let's go Iron Man or Captain America or any of those that have multiple versions. To me, the first Iron Man is the best Iron Man.
You're going to hate me, but no.
Okay. I don't hate you for it.
As
long as it's not 3.
I think with me...
Because if it's 3, you're going out that door.
I think they got progressively better. Don't like the storyline for the third one.
No.
But I think what happened was the actors and actresses fell into their roles.
Correct.
Which improves the movie experience.
Right.
Now, the storyline for the last one, I know, wasn't all on board for that. But like the Thors, the first one was great, but they progressed.
Oh, bacon wrapped dog turd of a second one.
Yeah, but the actors and actresses progressed by the time you got to the third one.
Right.
But without the second one, the third one probably would not have made any damn sense anyway.
Right. And they were able to have a redemption story with the third one.
Right.
But I think for me though, when I look at that first Iron Man, the moments that give you chills, the first time you watch him suit up in the red and yellow, the first time you see him go full on in the red and yellow, there are parts of the others that are still good. Throughout the entire Iron Man storyline, which goes all the way through Endgame, he has 46 different suit-ups. Literally, no, there's a YouTube video. I've watched it. It's all, every time a suit is put on, there are different takes, and it's the constant evolution of Tony Stark in general. But it's
that was
never
like the only
good.
thing I liked about the last one was that big battle scene where he's like, "Oh, I'm just inviting everybody to the party, and there's 5 million of these things."
Right.
It's like,
but I mean, that's kind of the.
but see, you also sound like a true fan of Iron Man, which I'm not.
Well,
I
it could be anything.
love Marvel and DC comic characters. Iron Man was not one that clicked with me.
Okay, well let's go. Let's pick a different. Let's move away from the comic world. Let's pick something that's completely unrelated, and let's take those same takes into it.
Okay, the second Grease sucked,
Okay,
but there again, same story.
they did
different.
a second Grease.
Yes, there's a Grease 2 with Michelle Pfeiffer. You should watch it. She fits very well in the leather pants. But you really shouldn't watch it because, here it is. It's the same storyline reversed. Ugh. So, and that is all it is. It's the same storyline reversed. Would have been a better movie had they picked up with the original cast in college.
Right.
And
didn't the car fly at the end of the first one though?
Yes.
And they did. And
nobody said there wasn't drugs involved. No, I'm just kidding. The
hard stuff hadn't really hit at that point in time.
The second one, even the songs are piss poor. Nothing made it on the charts. But and you're right though, it fell flat. They didn't have they knew what they wanted to do, but they could not make it happen.
Yeah. Well,
it goes the same way. Well, we talked last time about the movie RV with Robin Williams.
Right.
Now, most people, if Robin Williams was still with us, most people, if he made a movie, would go see it. Wouldn't even matter. They probably wouldn't even know the title when they left.
My hand's in the air.
I would, but I don't. And the way they ended RV, you could have done another movie.
Right.
But here's the thing: you've already done the good jokes.
Right. And comedies are notoriously bad about
exactly.
it.
So
it's the same shtick.
When you get into dramas, you can do a second one, you can do a third one.
Yeah, that's true.
Action adventure where you're dealing with the same character, Batman, Iron Man, Thor, Wonder Woman. When you're dealing with those characters, because you have such a base behind that,
you've got a Rolodex of villains.
Yeah, you can just continuously go. And those of us that are fans of that will just continuously go.
Right. Well, look at. Okay, so my take going back was, and it wasn't a bad movie, but let's go to the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle series, because we were talking about that earlier, but off the air. I really enjoyed the first one. I like the second one, but there's always a little bit of mystery to the first one for me. The third one, people hate that movie. You can't drag it through enough of a septic system for it to be bad for them. As a kid, I didn't hate it. Now, I still don't hate it. Because you know what? You buy into something, you buy into all of it. If you're not in for all of it, you got a problem. Now, going from generation to generation and you bring it back in a different format, that's a different argument. But I would not watch the third one now. It's too far-fetched. But the first to second, I didn't hate the second. But the mystique and the mystery and the goosebumps came in the first one. The second one, fun to watch, tons of comedy, exactly what I'd want to expect, and it's still good. It's just not.
Well, there are some 13 maybe Star Trek movies out there.
Correct.
I've quit putting numbers on them. They've quit putting numbers on them. Thank God they quit putting numbers on them. And I won't do all of them, but I can tell you as a fan,
Sure.
when that first one got in my hands, it was out a little too soon for me to enjoy it in a theater. But when I got the opportunity to see the first one, I was so excited.
Right.
At the end of it, I was so damn disappointed. It was a letdown. They spent way too much time showing off progression in special effects.
Right.
And that's all it is. We have some new technology. We upgraded the ship. Let's spend a lot of time on this. And the storyline was not there. I'll just put it like that. The storyline was just not there. Now, the second Star Trek, they brought back a villain from the original TV series. They even managed to get the same exact person to play it. Everybody fell right in their roles. And this was more like something you would have watched on TV. Phenomenal. And if I want to watch an original series movies, that's one of the ones I go to.
Right.
Now, the one after that, nah. But the one, and it's almost like in every other one, they hit a home run. And in between, not so much. And all the way into the reboots. And when they got into the Next Generation, the first movie with the Next Generation, the premise was absolutely wonderful. Thank you. The premise was wonderful, but the passing of the torch was unnecessary. But they did it anyway.
Right.
But it was completely unnecessary. Okay, they felt like we'd be okay with it if they did it. All right, the Next Generation stood on its own as a series. And now we're getting into stuff that, and we're still talking about stuff that has a huge following before it got on film anyway.
Sure.
But you get there, and even with those, like with The Matrix, I know people who liked different movies better than the others. I'm a 1 through 3, and that's how I'm going to watch them, how I'm going to watch them every time.
Right.
And it's like Lord of the Rings. When I do want to give up 7 years of my life again, I will watch them all the way through, one at a time.
I'm not going to lie to you. I watch them. I love them. They are great. But, God, they have moments where they just
Yes.
drag.
I've seen more countryside in New Zealand than I need to.
Right. Right. And again, no hatred and the argument of Peter Jackson versus George. I'm not having that argument.
Well, you can have that argument with Narnia, and those three movies did not all three. All three complement each other either.
Right, but I think that's probably getting back to what we were basing.
Yeah, because we're about to ruin our sequel on sequels.
But I just feel like it, and there are some that can bypass it, as you've mentioned. You've mentioned good ones. The Matrix has done it.
Yes.
Then the outside of Tokyo Drift, my God, we're at 9 Fast and the Furious movies. How the hell have they made 9?
The same way they've made how many Friday the 13th?
One of them they actually did.
How many
over
Halloweens?
Again, no, I get it. And Halloween, those Halloween movies.
I mean, there are times in which you just need to quit. Hint.
I agree, but I'm just they're just I don't know. I just feel like, much like you talk about atmosphere, first run movie has the same kind of take for me that it does than the second and third and fourth and fifth, all the way up to God knows how many Fast and Furious movies we're going to have before my time on this earth expires.
I've watched the first one.
And
I was like that with The Night at the Museum too. The first one was great. Second one, not so much. National Treasure, same thing.
Ooh, I don't know about that. Oh, no. I don't think I can ride with you on that one.
Yeah, you're getting lucky. Me agreeing that Nicolas Cage was in a good movie to begin with. So,
I've watched both of those movies enough that my wife goes, "Are you seriously watching them again?"
See, I can't do that. But see, I can, and this is where he's gonna get me. I can do the Mummy series all day long.
Don't hate the Mummy series. I don't hate the Mummy series. I did not watch all of them.
And I will tell you.
So I'll preface it with that.
Since you haven't watched them all, I will tell you. The first one's really, really good. The second one's mediocre. The third one just falls off, and the spinoffs from there are stupid.
Even the Scorpion King?
Yes,
Really enjoyed that.
I didn't.
Maybe because I'm a Dwayne Johnson fan.
Well,
That's probably where that comes in.
I just
That and
did
Kelly
not,
who?
They took a character out of the third movie and made a movie,
Right.
and
I felt like it was better than that movie.
well, it was better than the third movie, but it just was not one that that I would go back for. Actually, I probably need to say that there's a fourth Mummy movie in which his son's fully grown. That one was forgettable, obviously.
Right. Well, but
I think they are the original one, and I understand. Again, it was popular, and we have the ability to do this again.
right.
But now you're telling the same story again with a different twist.
right.
And that's no different than the 5-year-old trying to get that cupcake after being in trouble. Well, let's try and tell the story this way.
right. No. I'm with you. And I
But,
want
I mean, if you can give me an original story with the same characters,
Well, but I think though
Guardians of the Galaxy did that.
you're not wrong. I do want to pit stop though on National Treasure because I think we breezed over that. The draw for me there is the puzzle. I'm following the puzzle. I'm not so much as worried about the rest of it. The puzzle.
Well, I'm going to tell you now. Read the Da Vinci Code. Don't watch the movie.
Fair enough.
Well, and read Angels and Demons and The Lost Symbol. It's the 3 books that make up. I think they were going to do a third movie, but I don't think they did. But read those books. Don't watch those movies. The movies do not do the books near much justice.
Right.
But if you like the National Treasure puzzles, you will love those series of books.
But I think that to me,
Or audio book, however you do it.
right. The second one is not as good as the first because there's a mystique to the first. The Ocean's movies, same way.
Yes.
The Ocean's 11, genius. Oh my God, I loved it. The second one, you kind of knew what was going to happen. At some point, oh man, it looks pretty dire. Oh,
Well, at some point in
swerve.
time, I mean, let's think about this. I'm gonna switch gears, not even push the clutch in. Hocus Pocus. As much as all of us would love to see a second, thankfully, they're not going to tell that story again.
Right.
Because the only way to do it is to tell it again.
Right.
They have to tell the same exact story again. There was no open storyline at the end.
Sure.
And see, that's what happens with movies like Ocean's 11. This is done, this is happening, and this is over now. How do you tell that story again? Do you tell the exact same story over and over? Because that's what they end up doing. And I think that's why everything we've said was good is a comic, a sci-fi, an action figure, something like that where you've already got this bank.
Right. No, you're not wrong. Those tend to be the ones that jump out.
Yeah.
I mean, how many different ways can bad stuff happen in Law and Order SVU?
Are you gonna do a Beaches too?
Fair enough. It's a fair
I mean,
point.
think about it. Wow. Yeah, I stuttered. I even hit myself into a block wall there.
Yeah.
I think that's where we're hitting original storylines, original stories. When you do the sequel on them, they're not that great unless you've provided yourself a way to do a second story, like the National Lampoon's movies. It's the same family, but it's a different storyline every time.
Right. No, you're right. I agree. I think you've probably hit the nail on the head on the bigger issue is opening and closing.
Yes.
Because I think Ocean's 11 and then moving to Ocean's 12, there is a reason the storyline can continue. They made it continue and made it mostly believable. In one way, shape, or form, they made it work. But you still do the same shtick.
Yeah.
The story is different, but the shtick in point A to point B are mostly the same. Like 85% the same.
Yes.
Then you finish with 2, and then we go, okay, we're going to do another one. Because we got another bad guy, which is a really good bad guy, for what it's worth. Pacino in the third one's really good, comparatively speaking. And same shtick. But you give yourself a storyline. to make the same shtick work. But I guess my argument leans towards the first. Never done the first one. There's never been even. You know what? There's the all girls version. Same shtick over and over. It was good too, in its own way. But it still didn't carry. Like, I was waiting for them to go, all right, here's how we did it.
Yeah, I mean,
You know it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Here's how we did it. The first one, you're like, uh-oh, now what? Here's how we did it.
Well, see, yeah, that's part of the. I think that's part of it when they go to do these sequels. I think they're going because the armored truck backed up with the ass load of money, and it's like, oh, we can do this again and make another ass load of money, and I think they missed the mark because they haven't. If they've given us enough information in the first one to tell a completely different story for the second one,
I would like to,
and it's like, and how many? Well, you talk Ocean's 11. How many heist movies do we have?
Oh, jeez. Well, I mean, you could you go the Fast and Furious stuff in that.
Well, I'll bring up, and I'm not a huge fan of westerns, but I'll bring it up. You can give us a character in a western, and as long as you don't kill them off, you can write a completely different movie.
Yeah.
I mean, you can come back up with enough of that storyline so we know who the hell these people are, but you can give me a whole brand new movie.
Right. You give yourself a blank canvas.
Yes.
For lack of a better term.
But you got to plan that from the get-go.
Right.
And most of these scripts, they're written with, here's the beginning, here's the middle, here's the end.
I think they've reached the point where they're writing stuff to get it done.
Yes.
And then it's like, ha! And it's successful. And wait, the studio wants me to do it again?
Well, they could. Well, here's my thing. If you're writing these things and listening to us, first off, get a hobby. Anyway.
Thank you is what you should have said.
First off, thank you. Get a hobby. Anyway, I got to live it. You called me a dick earlier. I've got to live up to that.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
But seriously, if you write it, you read it, and you think it's great enough to submit, and they think it's great enough to actually do the movie, maybe you should write in there some stuff that you can follow up on.
Right.
And I've seen some dramas. Oh, God. The Evening Star is the second one. I can't think of what the name of the first one was, but I have seen you can do a drama like that where you've got a family, a neighborhood, whatever, and we go through all of this, and then the next time it's a follow-up. It ended, but yet you get a follow-up.
Right.
Can't remember if it was 9.5 weeks or Terms of Endearment, but there was actually another movie that played off of the first movie, but they never even considered. They didn't call it a sequel. It wasn't a 2 at the end of it.
It was its own thing.
It wasn't a We're Back Again or anything like that. It was its own thing, but it played off the same characters, the same family, the same storyline played over. Not the same storyline played over, but the same characters played into another storyline. And I think that might be what we're trying to hit on. Give us a different storyline.
Same people.
Yeah.
And
if you got
I'm okay
the
with
same
some
cast
of the
of
same
Ocean's
shit.
11, just let's break into something else. Let's steal something bigger.
Well, I think they tried to go bigger each time, but by doing it
The same way.
right, they had to pull the same thing. But and we could nitpick that stuff all day long.
And you and I love to nitpick stories, movies,
and without being a rant. I think we did succeed about no rants.
No, I think this was just a general conversation.
Yeah.
Other than the fact that I'm a dick.
It's not a rant. It's a thing. It's not a rant. It's a thing.
That's actually just information that by now they've all figured out.
Right.
But we don't want to rant about it. We're just talking about it. And and I think I've had this conversation or one similar with a lot of different people. And I know a lot of people that love TV shows and movies. We all gravitate together. I mean, like the guy that turned me on to The Witcher, we've done this. Season 2 wasn't as good as Season 3. Season 1, Season 3 was better, and we've done it with not The Witcher, by the way. We've done it with other TV shows, and we've done it with movies too. And I think everybody has a different opinion of which one was better.
Right.
Which that fascinates the hell out of me.
But again, everybody hits different.
Yeah, it hits different for everybody. But I mean, I'm glad they did the superhero stuff. I don't know if I could have existed without all these Batman movies.
At some
And
point,
I don't mean that sarcastically, by the way, people. Keep bringing them. Keep bringing me my comic book heroes in movies. Live action films, please.
I mean, you talk about the network of villains and people in the cross. I mean, we've talked about the timelines that Marvel has worked through. I encourage you to go back and listen to that just to kind of get a take on it. But it does. It lends itself to continual evolution. The one thing that you always, the dream match. They talk about that in one way, shape, or form. And there has been, outside of Captain America Civil War, there really hasn't been a whole lot of infighting.
I haven't watched that yet. I'm on that one. That's where I stopped.
Ooh.
I'm watching them in release order, and I binged them for like a week.
Did you never watch Endgame?
No, not yet. I'm doing it.
I feel like
Pay attention. I'm watching them in release order,
Oh
but
my
I
God.
haven't been. I am behind, dude.
yeah.
That's the
Oh
one
my
I'm
God.
on. That no spoiler alerts. That's the one I'm on, dude.
Done. No, I did. I don't feel like I spoiled
and what
anything.
happened was I watched like all of them up to that point, and then I had to go. I need a break.
Got it. No, that's fine.
I got to step away from this for
just-
a little while.
You have the opportunity for dream matchups, and I just
Oh, I can name you a dream matchup.
go ahead.
Alien versus Predator. One of the best movies of both franchises.
Okay.
And I liked both franchises a lot. But Alien versus Predator, when they put them together, that is like by far my favorite of those two franchises. And I really like Aliens. The second one, I will watch the second one over and over and over again. And I love the first Predator. I'll watch it over and over and over again. But when they put the two together, and I went into it skeptical, I was like, this is stupid. 5 minutes into that movie, had you spoke to me, I'd have hit you. I was that into it. It was just
No,
like,
I hear
5
you.
minutes into the movie, it was like, because I started picking up on what was going down, and I'm like, somebody's a genius. This is great.
Do you feel that same way about Freddy versus Jason?
No. I am going to be perfectly honest. First of all, I am not a huge horror movie fan. And when I say that, actually, let me clarify. I don't like those slasher movies.
Okay.
I don't like the blood, guts, and gore. Now, like Aliens, Predator, and that kind of stuff, if it's going to jump out at you and kind of scare you that way, that's
cool with
fine.
jump takes. I get it.
If there's some graphic violence, okay, but I don't want the whole movie to be based on somebody just got their throat slit open.
Sure.
Just not my thing. So that being said, I have watched the first of the Nightmare on Elm Streets. I have watched the first Halloween, and I've watched the first Friday the 13th. And here's the thing. Those three were not the big slasher that they turned into.
Sure.
And I enjoyed all of them. But I never returned for the second one. And my take on that was, oh, he's back. He's going to kill young teenage girls again.
Yeah. No,
And I mean, and that's just the way it was. I mean, and that's just that's actually the way it is. It's all about that. And this year they did the whole, we're going to end Halloween Michael Myers for the last time again, because we didn't get it last time. But that's all it is to me. That storyline, I don't know, this last Halloween may actually have a storyline to it, but all I see is we're going to kill the first 6 people you see on the screen, and we're going to do it in different violent ways.
I think if there were a draw to me for the movie Saw, same thing as National Treasure. There's a puzzle. There's a puzzle. I'm intrigued by the puzzle.
Never watched it.
No, it's fine. It's got a lot of gore. It's got
I
a
won't
lot
watch
of
it
gore. No, I'm just. But
see,
those
now,
get
like,
progressively
well,
stupider.
Here's one. I say all this about horror movies. I love Christine.
can
I
understand
think that was a great movie.
sure.
And M. Night Shyamalan has done some great stuff, and not all of his stuff is horror. Some of his stuff is creepy horror. I like that.
Yes.
Signs, that comes to mind
Keeps you
immediately.
thinking. Keeps you thinking.
But yeah, I mean, and I can do stuff like that all day long. But and I love intense stuff. If it's gonna be intense and I'm gonna be on the edge of my seat, right there with you.
I'm again I'm with you. The slasher stuff not really of intrigue to me.
They could have, in my opinion, they could have stopped.
Right.
The first one was done. It had a story. It had a definitive beginning. It had an end.
Cash truck.
Yeah. You had a reason, and now it's done. It's over with.
Yeah.
And I just don't buy into consistently going back and 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 going back. Now that being said, and we talk about my thing of the paranormal movies. There's like 4 or 5 of them.
Correct.
They tell a progressive story.
Sure.
And I've watched every single one of them. And they're great. And each one of them is great, but you can't watch one without the other.
Right.
Because they tell a progressive story. But they intended, when they wrote the first one, they intended to do the second one. You can tell that how it was written. It was intended to.
No, I get it.
I mean, it's almost like the Hunger Games. We're going to write a movie for every single one of these books.
That's another one of those book to movie adaptation falls short. No discredit to the movie. Movie was good in itself. However,
the books were amazing.
The books are unreal.
And before we get off here, my daughter handed me the first one. You got to read this, Dad.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever. And I set it to the side. She says, no, really read it. So 3 chapters in, I'm just looking at her going, when does it get good? She goes, where are you? I'm like, 4th chapter. She says, keep going.
Yep.
When it got good, it was leave me alone and let me read these books. Good. It was put one down, pick the other one up. Good. The movies were excellent. They were done very well, I think, in my opinion. The books were just, and this always happens. Well, I'm not going to say always, but a lot of times this happens. The books were just better.
You have the opportunity for character development that movies never have the freedom to do. If they did, they'd be 14 hours long.
They had to rush some of these characters on the movies. You almost had to have knowledge prior to the movie. Now, my wife did not read the books. She watched the movies. She enjoyed them, but you almost, because there were characters that she was asking us about. Where did this person come from? Why are they? Well, if you'd read the books.
Right. And again, I know that a lot that's perceived as that's a snobbish answer. No, it's not. There is a level of character development in a good book that you just miss out on when you go to a movie.
The only way they're going to do it is if the movie's 8 hours long.
Right. No, I'm with you 100%. And a lot of it's subliminal.
There's not a way to always give you the backstory.
There's a lot of inner monologue that you can put in print that you can't put.
Right.
You're not going to have them do voiceovers while they're just standing there.
No, then everything's like,
in my head, I'm wondering what I'm
somebody
thinking.
Narrating,
right?
It's like you have this fade out, and she was thinking at the time,
right? Just
that she really wished she hadn't taken this role, but she'd already given the director a blowjob.
All right, we're done. That's where we're going to call it. Jeez, we'll see you guys next week.
Later.